I'm Sharon Krigler, and it is my pleasure to be your host in the Speakers Corner of the IFGT. We hope you'll visit our special corner often to enjoy listening to people from all walks of life, sharing their thoughts and answering questions regarding the ongoing transformation of consciousness. Georgia Lambert has over 40 years of experience in the field of esoteric studies. She was the first to be licensed by the state of California to teach meditation, esoteric anatomy, and physiology. She's given seminars for the Scientific and Medical Network at St. Catherine's College in Oxford and for the Wrekin Trust at Regent's Park College, London. Her publishing credits include articles in the British holistic health journal Caduceus and appearances on both radio and television. Georgia specializes in the synthesis of the Western mystery tradition. She teaches ongoing classes in Southern California and has done so constantly for the last 22 years, 12 of which I was happy to be one of her students. Her classes cover a wide range of esoteric traditions and meditation techniques, including the ageless wisdom, the Kabbalah, Masonry, and the Arthurian quest for the Grail. Georgia, it's so good to have you here. I'd like to start with the fact that everybody today talks about consciousness raising. I mean, what exactly does that mean?
Well, I think the best way to begin to approach that is to change the word. Instead of consciousness raising, consciousness expansion. Because consciousness grows spherically. So, for instance, there was a time in our history when human conscious concern was only for self, finding enough food, finding enough water, finding enough shelter. And then that consciousness expanded to include the family, taking care of the family. And the family then became the tribe, and the tribe eventually became the nation. Well, right now we're at a place where the nation is becoming the planet, a globe, that includes not just the community of nations, but the other kingdoms in nature. And we can see this within the Green Movement, a movement towards stewardship and right relationship with these other kingdoms rather than exploitation. So the next step, as far as humanity en masse is concerned, is to become acquainted and aware with that life which is our planet and our place within that life. It's happening everywhere to everything on the planet. The planet itself is undergoing a shift, which is affecting all life on the planet. Now, that's not going to outpicture the same way for everyone. And particularly within humanity, there is the resistance factor, because nobody likes to change. But you can't grow without change. And so some of what we see in the world are really these old forms, these old crystallized patterns in their death throes, fighting for their survival, whether it be concepts within religion or politics or economic systems. The old guard is fighting hard to stay where it is, and the ground is being pulled out from under them. Things are moving fast, and it's not an illusion. I used to think that things would speed up as you get older. You know, you always hear that. But young people are saying the same thing. And what's happening is the planet is reaching a crisis point in its expansion, in its development. And humanity, along with all life upon this planet, is trying to keep up. There is a natural hum of the earth called the Schumann resonance. And in the last few decades, that Schumann resonance, which has been stable, is now going up. And so everything is changing. This new vibration is affecting all life upon the planet. And a good example of this would be the example of the Greek healing schools, where in ancient times healing temples were built over power points within the earth. They used to be called ley lines or feng shui lines in the East. And these temples would gear their architecture, their painting, their color, their music, the techniques of their practitioners, all to enhance the natural Schumann resonance, because it was thought, and rightly so, that if your organs in your body were out of harmony with the Schumann resonance, there would be disease. So all was geared to bringing the system back into this harmony. Well, that doesn't work anymore because the Schumann resonance is going up and it's transforming. And the electrical body that underlies our physical body is scrambling to try to keep up with these changes.
What is the process by which someone can raise their consciousness and allow their life to flow more smoothly?
Well, the first thing is not to take it personally. And this is often hard because things happen to us personally. We have loved ones die, we go through crises. It's all very, very personal. It seems to be, but it's happening everywhere. We look at the crystallized forms of business or of politics or of religion, and these are old systems, old crystallized systems that are fighting for their survival because they know their days are numbered, and they're fighting with that will to survive that all form has. And so the first thing is to recognize that it's not happening to you personally. The universe is not out to get you. And so when we don't take it personally, then that gives us the freedom to say, oh, okay, so what do I do about this? Which brings us to the second thing we can do, which is learn to surf it. Learn to lend ourselves to the process, which is very true for the masses of humanity. To learn to, as the New Agers say, go with the flow. A little bit further on down the path, it's not so much going with the flow, it's learning to create the flow and move into it. We initiate the flow. We become causative to it. We have a sense of where things are going, and we lend ourselves to that process consciously and creatively. And so for those that are actively seeking in the world, this is the time to seek out those teachers, those teachings, those tools, whatever they may be, whatever resonates with the person, because no one tool is right for everybody. But you can attract yourself and attract to yourself those tools that will enable you to take that next step, to instead of just waiting for it to land on you, to head into the wind and move into it and become a participant.
Or learn the art of meditation from Georgia Lambert.
Well, you know, there are different types of meditation, and I'd like to clarify this if I can. The problem is that traditionally there have been 3 different types of meditation. The first type is what I like to call meditation for sanctuary or nurturing. And the best example of this is the great whales, who are air-breathing mammals, and yet they don't live in the air. They live in the water, and their whole existence is geared toward water. They bring forth their young, they mate, their lines of communication, their interpersonal relationships are all within the element water. But in order to survive, they have to come up for air. Well, we human beings are just like that. We live in an element that is not our natural element. Our true existence is one of spirit, and we're living in this physical existence and environment. And meditation is a way of coming up for air. It's a way of replenishing. So the first type of meditation would be this meditation for sanctuary or nurturing or healing, just to sort of be replenished and be reminded of who we really are. But there's a second type of meditation, which is meditation for learning things. Instead of going to the library out here, realize that every great esoteric work has come about because the author has been in touch with some area of wisdom. And so instead of going through a translation of a translation of a translation of a spiritual work, which was relevant at one point in history, but no longer is, we can go up into that area of wisdom that those authors originally drew from and do a whole new fresh translation for the present time. And so there are meditation techniques that are specifically geared for learning. The third kind of meditation is for service. And this is non-personal. This is meditation for the sake of others. Included in this would be long-distance healing, perhaps, adjustments for negativities, using the energies invoked in meditation to set things right, to move things along in the world. And it used to be that these 3 types of meditation were quite separate. because each is sort of intuitively drawn to the one that they resonate with best. But today, this is no longer the case. The three are being combined into one great movement forward. And although each individual may certainly resonate toward one particular type over the others, they must have training in the other two. So for those that are active seekers on the path, it's time to set the intent to invoke that teacher, that teaching, that system, that tool that will enable you to move forward and be a conscious and creative part of this planetary change rather than just a rider.
And we thank you for being of such service to the Speakers Corner, and I hope to have you here again.
Oh, it's my honor and pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgia.